On St. Patrick's Day 2022, I was drinking some good old Irish whiskey and watching Luck of the Irish, the decom, in spirit of the holiday. And I thought to myself, damn, alcohol tastes like shit. And it really doesn't do anything good for me. Why am I doing this? So I challenged myself, how long can I actually go without it? Apparently, 4 years and counting. I don't talk about my sobriety at all because most people's knee-jerk reaction is to take it as a personal attack against them, even if I just say, no thanks, I don't drink. And oftentimes they assume that I'm going to then start preaching to them about how bad their use is, because I'm guessing that's their experience with others in the past. There's this very weird pressure in either just American society or society in general to drink alcohol. And if you don't, you are deemed a loser and you think you're better than people and you're condescending, when in reality, I have one kidney and I don't want to fuck up my body even more than I already did with years of heavy drinking. There's a lot of people who believe that in order to get sober, you have to have this terrible rock bottom where you hurt or even end the lives of others or damn near yourself to convince yourself to stop drinking or using. When in reality, you can just decide one day that you don't want to do it anymore. My decision not to drink has nothing to do with other people's decision to drink or not to drink. And I personally don't care what other people do in their free time as long as they're not harming other people while they do it. I do believe in California sober. I do believe in a gray area because abstinence almost never works for anyone, for anything, because that's not how humans work. That is not how life works. It's not all or nothing. Alcohol was never my drug of choice. It really was weed. But I was also an opportunist. Anything I could get my hands on, I did. And when I was a teenager, my main issue was pills. Pills were just easier for me to use and hide when I was a kid. And then when I got older, I loved the ritual of smoking. It was a way to bond with my peers. Once I started to step away from it, I realized that the only thing I had in common with all of my smoking buddies was that we liked to smoke. We didn't actually talk about anything of substance, and if we did, we hardly remembered it. The first time I went hiking in the mountains sober, I cried because I was grieving all of the views that I had seen in the past that I didn't remember or couldn't comprehend because I couldn't see straight because I was too high. There was nothing better for me than a clear head. It felt almost euphoric because it was such a drastic difference from the substances and how they made me feel. The weed stopped helping me and it started hurting me by making me extremely paranoid. I also had cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, and I know a lot of people don't believe that that's real, but I went through multiple different doctors, tests, medications, and my doctors mentioned it, but I told them there's no way it was possible, and for some reason they believed me, because then we went down every other avenue, when in reality, I just had to stop smoking a gram of wax every day. I've noticed online that a lot of people are afraid to talk about these things because they're labeled as fear-mongering. Someone having a bad experience does not automatically mean that they're demonizing the substance if they're just saying, no thanks, it's not for me, I didn't have the best experience. That is very different than someone going online and intentionally trying to get people to stop using a substance that might be genuinely life-saving for them because they had a bad experience. I love weed. If I didn't have to be sober, I wouldn't be. If I had self-control around these things, I would be using them every now and then. But I just can't. I've learned to be okay with that because at the end of the day, with those substances, I know that I wouldn't have been able to get as far as I got in life because of how much they held me back personally. Almost every day now, I find myself frozen and feeling a sense of gratitude completely wash over my entire body and soul for how far I've come, how grateful I am to feel safe and happy on a regular basis. With the circumstances that I've been through, it's a goddamn miracle that I am where I am, and I'm so proud of myself for getting there, and I know damn well that if I was still high or drunk, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Everyone's journey with substances is different, and that's okay. I saw someone online say, if it keeps you here with us, then keep using it, and I completely agree with that. Harm reduction is the way to go. And someone saying they had a good experience, someone saying they had a bad experience, doesn't have to influence someone else's choice to try it or not, unless they want it to. At the end of the day, just be intentional with the words you use, but I think it's still important to talk about these things because it is not all or nothing. Life is gray, and this is one of the many things in life that are gray.